I'll turn that off for a minute.
Please do turn that off.
Hi everyone, my name's James Ivey.
I'm Paul Drew.
From the Studio Rats.
Oh, yes.
Now, on our live Q&A, which happens every Wednesday evening, 8 PM, BST or GMT, depending on where we are in the world and stuff like that, we had a question. It does happen occasionally. We actually had a question, and we thought we'd make a video to answer said question. And the question goes...
Why do we always use load boxes and attenuators when demoing amps? And can we do videos where we're not using load boxes and attenuators to demo amps?
So we thought, we can answer that.
Well, we sort of can answer it. I think we're going to be deaf.
Pardon?
I think, yeah. So we'll see what happens. So what we're going to do today, we've got the Marshall Studio Plexi, the SV20, which is a fantastic sounding little amp. It's a 20-watt version of a Plexi. Their Studio series, and it's plugged into a Boss tube amp expander. Do you want to spin that camera around so we can have a quick look?
Excuse me.
Professional. Here we go. So it's plugged into a Boss tube amp expander, and the Boss tube amp expander is then plugged into this Victory speaker, which has a red back in it.
And it's got a Sontronics microphone Delta 2 in front of it.
And it sounds like this. So this is with the Marshall. Do you want to spin back to the Marshall, James? Sorry to be a pain. God, he's a professional. Look at this. And he zooms in. So this is with the Marshall, more or less with everything at 12 o'clock. Now this is a 20-watt amp, 20 watts.
20 watts within 20 feet would hurt.
God, yeah, it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt.
Here we go.
Anyway, this is the sound of the Marshall going into an attenuator, and the attenuator is then plugged into the speaker.
Now, we've got a good level. I'm going to turn that off a moment.
Please do.
A good level. Nothing's popping. We haven't got to bring the mic pre down so low that there's no point in having a flavoured mic pre. Everything's happy. It's working as it should be.
But the amp is definitely working as it should be. So what happens is, and we've explained this so many times, but when you turn up this is a non-master volume amp. So when you turn up the volume of this amp, the power amp tubes are starting to cook a little bit, and you start to get some power amp saturation. For me, that is where the sound of an amp sounds best.
Yeah. Preamp tubes are good. Power amp tubes are better.
Exactly, yeah. Well, yeah, a combination is good. So what we're going to do, James, can you turn up the lead, the treble master a little bit on this, and we're going to see what we can do with this.
Now that is running through a speaker which is in the same room as us. You know, it's only there, it's a 1x12. If, as we're about to find out, we take the attenuator, the load box out of the equation, it's going to hurt, isn't it?
It's going to hurt, so let's do it.
Let's find out. So, by the magic of television, sorry, I couldn't help myself, we have bypassed the tube amp expander. So we now, instead of going from the amp to the tube amp expander, from the tube amp expander into the speaker, we're now going directly with one cable from the Marshall straight into the speaker. And having tested it, we've already had to knock 2 gain notches off the mic pre.
And this is why we use load boxes and attenuators. So go on then.
That's already twice as loud as it was with the attenuator.
Yep.
And because we're not driving the amp at all, it sounds pretty poor.
Can you switch it into the 5-watt mode for me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So basically what we're doing now, the power amp tubes are not being driven at all. So basically that is how Plexi sounds when you've got the volume at, what are we at, James?
Not even on 1.
But it's not how it was, is it?
It's not a Plexi sound either, is it?
Can you switch in a drive for me to see how the drive sounds?
Pick a number.
Switch in the tube screamer.
it's not the same sound.
It's not the same sound.
To get the same sound, we're probably going to have to go up to about, well, 4 or 5, and I don't want to do that. I have hearing that I want to maintain.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way that you can do that in this room, and to be honest, you know, a lot of rooms you'd have to have a dedicated amp room, and that's even with a 20 watt amp. So let's go back to how it was.
Yep.
And let's demonstrate how
it sounds now when they're only like down there.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's as relevant. So what we've done is we've switched back. So we now have Marshall into tube amp expander into cabinet. But we still have our volume settings ludicrously low. I'll kick it in on high mode,
yep.
So it's the full 20 watts, and now we'll wind up those 2 master volumes, the loudness controls, to get our tone back.
Great.
And that's how it's supposed to sound. It's loud, it's in your face, but it's not tearing your face off and actually physically hurting us because we're using the low box
attenuator
thing.
Absolutely. That's our point. I think if you want to spend the money on a nice valve amp, it's really worth spending the money on an attenuator. You haven't got to spend a lot of money. I mean, I think the 2 Notes Captor X is pretty much flavour of the day at the moment.
They seem to be, and they're you know, it's a bit of money,
yeah.
but it will mean you can use your valve amp and it can sound like it's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
And B, you will save your hearing and the hatred of your neighbours.
Absolutely.
And you can use it live.
Absolutely.
So what's not to love? So on that layeringly loud bombshell, as it nearly was, I hope you've enjoyed that and hope you got something from it. If you have, please like, subscribe, hit the bell. And we'll see you again soon. But for now, my name's James Ivey.
I'm Paul Drew.
And again, we will see you again very soon.